Have you ever wondered what separates great leaders from the rest? Why do some people naturally inspire trust, influence others effortlessly, and lead teams to extraordinary achievements, while others struggle to make an impact? What if I told you that leadership is not an innate trait reserved for a select few, but a set of laws that anyone can learn, master, and apply to transform their influence and effectiveness? In the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, John C. Maxwell reveals the timeless principles that have guided history's greatest leaders and shows you how to apply these laws to become the leader you were meant to be. Whether you're leading a small team, an organization, or aiming to make an impact on a global scale, these laws will provide the blueprint for leadership success. Ready to unlock the secrets of powerful leadership? Let's dive in. Chapter 1: The Law of the Lid. Leadership determines your level of effectiveness. Maxwell begins by introducing the concept of the leadership lid, a metaphor for the cap that limits your effectiveness. Imagine a person's natural talents and abilities as a boiling pot filled with potential, but the leadership lid, representing your ability to lead, sets the boiling point. No matter how much talent, passion, or drive you possess, your leadership ability dictates how far you can go. In short, your leadership determines your level of effectiveness. To illustrate this, Maxwell shares the story of the McDonald brothers. Richard and Maurice McDonald had a revolutionary idea for fast food service, but despite their innovation, they couldn't grow their business beyond a single location. It wasn't until Ray Kroc, a visionary leader, entered the picture that McDonald's exploded into a global empire. Why? Kroc's leadership lid was higher. He saw the potential for massive growth and led the way with strategic vision and decisive action. Maxwell argues that if you want to raise your effectiveness and influence, you must first raise your leadership ability. This law is a foundational truth that applies to anyone, whether you're an entrepreneur, manager, or even a parent. The takeaway is clear: leadership is the key that unlocks the full potential of your personal and professional success. It's not enough to have ambition or a great idea. You must develop the leadership skills to turn that potential into reality. Chapter 2: The Law of Influence. Leadership is about influence, nothing more, nothing less. Maxwell boldly declares that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. This simple yet profound statement cuts through common misconceptions about leadership. Some think leadership comes with a title, position, or authority. But in reality, leadership is about your ability to influence others. Influence is the cornerstone of leadership, and without it, you cannot lead. Maxwell explains that true leaders understand how to inspire, persuade, and motivate others to take action. This isn't about manipulation or coercion. It's about earning trust, credibility, and respect. Throughout history, the greatest leaders have been masters of influence. Maxwell points to figures like Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela, people who had no formal authority, but changed the world through the power of influence. Maxwell also highlights that influence isn't static. It can grow or diminish based on how you lead. He shares the story of Henry Ford, who revolutionized the automobile industry, but nearly destroyed his company later in life when he refused to adapt and lost his influence over his team. Ford's inability to recognize that leadership is dynamic and relational almost cost him everything. To build influence, Maxwell advises that you focus on developing relationships, demonstrating competence, and consistently acting with integrity. Leadership isn't about position, it's about earning the right to be followed. Chapter 3: The Law of Process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. Leadership isn't a destination, it's a journey, and the law of process reminds us that true leadership is cultivated over time. Maxwell emphasizes that there are no shortcuts to becoming a great leader. Just like mastering any skill, leadership requires daily, intentional growth and learning. Maxwell likens leadership development to physical fitness. You can't expect to get in shape after one intense workout. It's the consistent, everyday effort that produces lasting results. Similarly, leadership is built through a series of small decisions, learning experiences, and personal discipline. It's the result of dedication, self-reflection, and a commitment to improvement. One example of leadership as a process is Winston Churchill. When Churchill first entered politics, he wasn't considered a strong leader. In fact, he made numerous mistakes and was often criticized. However, through years of learning, adapting, and sharpening his leadership skills, Churchill rose to become one of the most iconic leaders during World War II. His success was not the result of a single moment of brilliance, but of years of steady growth. Maxwell's key message in this chapter is that leadership cannot be developed overnight. It takes time, experience, and a willingness to grow. The most successful leaders are those who understand that the process of leadership is ongoing, and they commit to lifelong learning. Chapter 4. The Law of Navigation. Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Great leaders don't just steer the ship, they chart the course. The law of navigation teaches that leaders must have a clear vision of where they're going and a plan for how to get there. While anyone can take the helm and guide a team in the short term, true leaders are those who can navigate through the complexities of long-term goals, obstacles, and changing environments. Maxwell shares the story of the famous Antarctic explorer, Sir Ernest Shackleton, whose leadership during a failed expedition became legendary. Shackleton had set out to cross Antarctica, but his ship, the Endurance, was trapped in ice. Despite the failure of the mission, Shackleton's remarkable ability to navigate through the treacherous circumstances and lead his men to safety made him one of the greatest leaders in history. Maxwell explains that great navigators like Shackleton don't rely on guesswork or intuition alone. They gather information, assess risks, and anticipate challenges before setting a course. They understand that a well-planned journey increases the likelihood of success, while failure to plan often leads to disaster. As a leader, Maxwell encourages you to think like a navigator. Don't just react to circumstances as they arise. Plan ahead, gather information, and chart a course that considers potential obstacles. The ability to navigate will set you apart as a leader who can guide your team through both calm and stormy seas. Before we dive into the next chapter, we have noticed that 72% of you who listen to our video are not yet subscribed to the channel. Please help support our channel by hitting the subscribe button and like the video. Thanks for inspiring us to create more content for you. Chapter 5. The Law of Addition. Leaders add value by serving others. What makes a leader truly great? According to Maxwell's Law of Addition, the best leaders are those who add value to others. Leadership isn't about what you can get from people. It's about what you can give. Leaders who serve others, lift them up, and contribute to their growth and success create lasting influence and leave a powerful legacy. Maxwell points out that leaders who focus on self-promotion and personal gain often burn out or fail to inspire long-term loyalty. On the other hand, servant leaders, those who prioritize the needs of their teams, organizations, and communities, earn the trust and respect of others, which multiplies their leadership impact. An example of this principle is Herb Kelleher, co-founder of Southwest Airlines. Kelleher didn't just view his employees as a means to an end. He valued them as the most important part of the company. By treating his team well, putting their needs first, and fostering a positive work culture, Kelleher built one of the most successful airlines in history. His leadership style, based on service and adding value, resulted in loyal employees who were motivated to give their best, which in turn fueled the company's long-term success. Maxwell encourages leaders to ask themselves a simple but profound question: how can I serve others today? By shifting your focus from what you can take to what you can give, you elevate your leadership to a higher level. The best leaders understand that leadership is not about them, it's about the people they lead. Chapter 6. The Law of Solid Ground. Trust is the foundation of leadership. Trust is the bedrock of leadership. Without trust, you cannot lead effectively. Maxwell's Law of Solid Ground teaches that leadership is built on trust, and trust is earned through integrity, honesty, and consistency. It's easy to follow someone you trust, but when trust is broken, influence erodes quickly. Maxwell explains that trust is not given freely. It's earned through a leader's actions over time. Leaders build trust by aligning their words with their actions, by doing what they say they will do, and by being transparent and accountable. When a leader lacks integrity, their influence crumbles, and their ability to lead is compromised. One powerful example of this law in action is the fall of Richard Nixon during the Watergate scandal. Nixon's involvement in the cover-up of illegal activities destroyed the public's trust in him, leading to his resignation from the presidency. The collapse of Nixon's leadership was not due to his political skills or vision, but to the erosion of trust. Once trust was broken, his authority and influence vanished. Maxwell emphasizes that every leader should guard their integrity like a precious resource. The ability to influence others rests on a foundation of trust, and once that foundation is cracked, it is incredibly difficult to repair. As a leader, consistently acting with honesty, integrity, and reliability is essential for long-term success. Chapter 7. The Law of Respect. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. Maxwell's Law of Respect teaches that people naturally follow leaders they respect. Respect is not something that can be demanded. It must be earned. The key to earning respect is demonstrating strength, competence, and moral authority. The stronger the leader, the more people will be willing to follow them. Maxwell highlights that followers instinctively gravitate toward leaders who are stronger, those who possess confidence, decisiveness, and vision. Respect is given to leaders who lead with purpose, consistently make sound decisions, and inspire others to rise to their potential. A classic example of this law in action is the leadership of Harriet Tubman, one of the most respected and courageous figures in American history. As a leader of the Underground Railroad, Tubman risked her life repeatedly to lead hundreds of slaves to freedom. Her strength, bravery, and unwavering moral conviction earned her the respect and loyalty of those who followed her. Despite the dangers, people were willing to follow her because they trusted her leadership and believed in her cause. Maxwell explains that if you want others to follow you, you must first demonstrate your ability to lead with strength, conviction, and character. Leaders who command respect set high standards for themselves and their followers, and they inspire others to achieve greatness. Chapter 8. The Law of Intuition. Leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias. Great leaders possess a heightened sense of intuition that allows them to read situations, people, and trends quickly and accurately. Maxwell calls this the law of intuition, explaining that seasoned leaders are able to assess environments and make decisions based on their gut instincts and leadership experience. This intuition isn't magical. It's a result of years of honing leadership skills, making decisions, and learning from successes and failures. Maxwell shares that intuition allows leaders to see things that others might miss. It helps them anticipate challenges before they arise, recognize opportunities that others overlook, and understand the dynamics of people and relationships at a deep level. Leadership intuition is especially valuable in times of crisis or uncertainty when there's little time to analyze every detail. Consider the example of Steve Jobs, who had a remarkable ability to anticipate market trends and consumer needs before they were fully realized. Jobs' leadership intuition guided Apple through some of its most groundbreaking innovations, from the iPod to the iPhone, allowing the company to stay ahead of the curve. Jobs could see opportunities that others couldn't, and his intuition helped Apple revolutionize the tech industry. Maxwell stresses that leadership intuition can be developed. While some leaders may have a natural knack for it, all leaders can improve their intuitive abilities through experience, self-reflection, and learning from past decisions. The key is to approach every situation with a leadership mindset, always asking, what does this mean for the people I lead? Chapter 9. The Law of Magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. In the Law of Magnetism, Maxwell reveals a critical truth about leadership. Who you are is who you attract. Leaders don't just attract followers, they attract people who are like themselves. If you want to attract great people to your team or organization, you must first become the kind of leader you want to attract. Maxwell explains that leaders who possess qualities such as positivity, integrity, competence, and vision will naturally attract followers who share those same traits. On the other hand, leaders who lack direction, enthusiasm, or commitment will attract followers who mirror those qualities. To illustrate this point, Maxwell refers to military leadership. In the military, leaders who exhibit discipline, courage, and a strong sense of duty inspire those same qualities in their soldiers. The soldiers reflect the qualities of their leaders, creating a cohesive and motivated unit. Maxwell emphasizes that if you're not attracting the right people, it may be time to take a hard look at yourself. Are you demonstrating the qualities you wish to see in others? As a leader, you set the tone for your team. The more you embody the traits of a strong, ethical, and committed leader, the more you will attract people who are aligned with those same values. Chapter 10, The Law of Connection. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. Maxwell's Law of Connection reminds us that leadership is relational. Before you can lead others effectively, you must first connect with them on a personal and emotional level. People are much more willing to follow a leader who understands them, listens to them, and cares about them as individuals. Maxwell shares that leaders who focus solely on tasks, goals, or numbers without considering the human element often struggle to inspire true commitment. Great leaders understand that leadership is about people, and they take the time to build trust, rapport, and connection with their followers. One famous example of the law of connection in action is President Ronald Reagan, often called the Great Communicator. Reagan had an extraordinary ability to connect with people from all walks of life, making them feel heard and understood. Whether speaking to a nation or an individual, Reagan knew how to touch people's hearts, and as a result, he earned their trust and loyalty. Maxwell encourages leaders to invest time in getting to know the people they lead, what motivates them, what challenges they face, and what dreams they have. When you connect with people on an emotional level, you inspire loyalty and commitment. Remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Chapter 11, The Law of the Inner Circle. A leader's potential is determined by those closest to him. Maxwell's Law of the Inner Circle emphasizes a critical truth about leadership. You cannot lead alone. The people you surround yourself with, your inner circle, play a pivotal role in determining your success. Great leaders understand that their potential is limited by the strength and capabilities of those closest to them. Therefore, they are intentional about building an inner circle that strengthens and complements their leadership. Maxwell argues that the best leaders do not operate in isolation. They build a team of trusted individuals who possess the skills, talents, and perspectives necessary to help the leader achieve their vision. This inner circle often consists of advisors, mentors, and team members who share the leader's values and are fully committed to the mission. One of the most powerful examples of this law in action is Abraham Lincoln's team of rivals. When Lincoln became president, he intentionally brought together a cabinet of people who were his political opponents. Instead of surrounding himself with those who would simply agree with him, Lincoln chose people who challenged him and offered different perspectives. This diverse inner circle helped him navigate the difficult challenges of the Civil War and ultimately preserve the Union. Maxwell emphasizes that leaders must be intentional about building their inner circle with people who add value, challenge them to grow, and enhance their leadership. By surrounding yourself with capable and trustworthy individuals, you multiply your own effectiveness and increase the likelihood of success. Chapter 12, The Law of Empowerment. Only secure leaders give power to others. Great leaders don't hoard power, they give it away. The law of empowerment teaches that the most effective leaders are those who empower others to lead. Insecure leaders, Maxwell explains, often fear losing control or being overshadowed, so they withhold power from those around them. But leaders who are secure in their own abilities understand that empowering others strengthens the entire organization. Maxwell shares the story of Henry Ford as an example of a leader who failed to empower others. Although Ford revolutionized the automobile industry, he struggled to let go of control. His refusal to delegate authority and empower his team stifled innovation and growth. In contrast, leaders like Andrew Carnegie, who was known for surrounding himself with brilliant managers and giving them the freedom to lead, created empires that thrived for generations. Empowering others doesn't mean abdicating responsibility. It means giving people the authority and confidence to make decisions, take risks, and grow into their own leadership roles. Maxwell points out that when you empower others, you don't diminish your own leadership. you multiply it. Empowered leaders are more engaged, more innovative, and more motivated to achieve great things. Maxwell encourages leaders to overcome insecurity and trust in the capabilities of others. By empowering those around you, you not only build stronger leaders, but also create a culture of trust, collaboration, and shared success. Chapter 13, The Law of the Picture. People do what people see. In leadership, actions speak louder than words. The law of the picture teaches that people follow the example set by their leaders. If you want to inspire excellence, integrity, and hard work in your team, you must first demonstrate those qualities yourself. People don't just listen to what leaders say, they watch what leaders do. Maxwell argues that leaders must embody the values and behaviors they expect from their followers. If you want your team to be disciplined, hardworking, and ethical, you must model those qualities in your own actions. Conversely, if you are inconsistent, untrustworthy, or lazy, your team will mirror those behaviors. A powerful example of this law is Mahatma Gandhi, who led India's fight for independence through nonviolent resistance. Gandhi didn't just preach nonviolence. He lived it. His personal commitment to peace and integrity inspired millions to follow his lead. Gandhi's actions spoke louder than his words, and his leadership through example changed the course of history. Maxwell emphasizes that as a leader, your team is always watching you. Your actions, attitudes, and decisions set the tone for the entire organization. By consistently modeling the behavior you want to see in others, you inspire trust, loyalty, and commitment. Chapter 14, The Law of Buy-in. People buy into the leader, then the vision. The law of buy-in teaches that people don't just follow ideas or visions, they follow leaders. Before people will buy into a vision or goal, they first need to buy into the leader who is promoting it. Maxwell explains that leadership is relational, and people must trust and believe in the leader before they can fully commit to the leader's vision. Maxwell shares that even the best ideas will fail if people don't have confidence in the leader presenting them. On the other hand, people are more likely to support even challenging or risky ideas if they trust and believe in the person leading the way. Great leaders understand that leadership is about building trust in relationships first and then presenting the vision. A powerful example of this principle is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. King had a powerful vision for equality and civil rights, but what truly inspired people to follow him was the strength of his character, his unwavering commitment to justice, and his deep connection with the people he led. King's leadership was rooted in trust, and because people believed in him, they were willing to sacrifice for the vision he presented. Maxwell encourages leaders to focus on building relationships and earning the trust of their followers. When people buy into you as a leader, they are far more likely to buy into your vision. Chapter 15, The Law of Victory. Leaders find a way for the team to win. Great leaders are committed to victory. Maxwell's Law of Victory teaches that leaders must possess an unyielding determination to succeed, no matter the obstacles or challenges they face. Leaders who embrace this law are relentless in their pursuit of success and will do whatever it takes to ensure that their team achieves its goals. Maxwell shares the story of Sir Winston Churchill, whose leadership during World War II epitomized the law of victory. Despite the seemingly insurmountable odds facing Britain during the darkest days of the war, Churchill refused to accept defeat. His famous speeches, including his declaration that Britain would never surrender, inspired the nation to persevere and ultimately triumph. Leaders who follow the law of victory are not content with just trying. They are committed to winning. They inspire their teams to push through adversity, stay focused on the goal, and work together to achieve success. Maxwell explains that this law requires courage, resilience, and a refusal to quit when things get tough. Maxwell encourages leaders to adopt a mindset of victory. Don't settle for anything less than success, and inspire your team to do the same. Leaders who believe in victory find a way to make it happen. Chapter 16, The Law of the Big Mo. Momentum is a leader's best friend. Momentum, or the Big Mo, is one of the most powerful forces in leadership. Maxwell explains that when a leader creates momentum, it becomes much easier to achieve success. Momentum amplifies effort, boosts morale, and helps a team overcome challenges more easily. In contrast, when momentum is lacking, even small obstacles can seem insurmountable. Maxwell uses the example of sports teams to illustrate this principle. A team with momentum can come from behind to win a game, while a team without momentum struggles to stay focused and make progress. The same is true in business and leadership. Momentum helps teams achieve results faster and with greater ease. The key to building momentum, Maxwell says, is to start with small wins. By focusing on achieving early successes, leaders can build confidence and energy within their teams. As momentum builds, bigger goals become easier to achieve, and the team's progress accelerates. Maxwell warns that losing momentum can be devastating for a team. Leaders must be vigilant in maintaining momentum by celebrating wins, addressing obstacles quickly, and keeping the team focused on progress. The takeaway from this law is simple. When you have momentum, everything seems easier. Great leaders know how to build and sustain momentum to keep their teams moving forward and achieving success. Chapter 17, The Law of Priorities. Leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. In the Law of Priorities, Maxwell emphasizes that great leaders know the difference between being busy and being productive. Leadership is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. The key to maximizing your leadership effectiveness lies in your ability to prioritize and focus on the tasks that bring the greatest value and results. Maxwell introduces the 80-20th principle, also known as the Pareto principle, to illustrate this law. According to this principle, 20% of your activities will produce 80% of your results. Successful leaders understand this and concentrate their time and energy on the top 20% of tasks that drive success, delegating or eliminating the rest. One example Maxwell shares is former U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower, whose decision-making process was guided by a focus on priorities. During World War II, Eisenhower had to make countless critical decisions, but his ability to prioritize the most impactful actions allowed him to lead effectively and ultimately succeed as the Supreme Allied Commander. Eisenhower would later create a decision-making matrix that categorized tasks based on urgency and importance, helping him stay focused on what mattered most. Maxwell advises leaders to evaluate their actions constantly. Are you focusing on what will move you and your team forward? Or are you caught up in busy work that doesn't create lasting value? By regularly assessing your priorities and making the necessary adjustments, you can ensure that your leadership efforts are aligned with your long-term goals. Chapter 18, The Law of Sacrifice. A leader must give up to go up. Leadership requires sacrifice, and this principle is at the heart of the law of sacrifice. Maxwell explains that the higher you climb in leadership, the more you will have to give up. While leadership brings opportunities and influence, it also comes with significant responsibilities that require personal sacrifices, whether it's time, comfort, or personal desires. Maxwell shares the example of Martin Luther King Jr., who sacrificed his safety, his comfort, and ultimately his life for the cause of civil rights. King understood that leadership required putting the needs of others above his own. His willingness to make profound personal sacrifices for the greater good is what made him one of the most respected and influential leaders of the 20th century. The law of sacrifice teaches that there's always a price to pay for leadership, and leaders who refuse to make sacrifices will eventually limit their impact. As you take on more responsibility, you'll need to let go of certain things, perhaps hobbies, personal time, or even relationships that no longer serve your mission. Maxwell encourages leaders to embrace sacrifice as a necessary part of their journey. The willingness to make difficult decisions and give up personal comfort is what distinguishes true leaders from those who simply hold positions of authority. Chapter 19, The Law of Timing. When to lead is as important as what to do and where to go. Timing is everything in leadership. Maxwell's law of timing teaches that even the right decision, if made at the wrong time, can lead to failure. Successful leadership is not only about knowing what to do, but also about knowing when to do it. Great leaders understand that timing can make or break a situation, and they develop a keen sense of when to act. Maxwell shares the story of General Douglas MacArthur, who demonstrated impeccable timing during World War II. MacArthur's decision to wait for the right moment before launching his famous amphibious assault at Incheon during the Korean War was crucial to the mission's success. Had he acted too early or too late, the outcome might have been disastrous. His ability to assess the situation and wait for the perfect moment exemplified the law of timing. Maxwell explains that leaders must constantly evaluate the circumstances and their team's readiness before taking action. Acting too quickly can cause unnecessary risks, while waiting too long can lead to missed opportunities. The best leaders understand that timing is a delicate balance and requires a deep understanding of the situation, the people involved, and the potential consequences. The lesson here is clear. Great leadership is as much about when you act as it is about what you do. Leaders must develop the intuition and judgment necessary to determine the right timing for critical decisions. Chapter 20. The Law of Explosive Growth. To add growth, lead followers. To multiply, lead leaders. In the Law of Explosive Growth, Maxwell introduces a transformative concept. If you want to grow an organization, don't just lead followers, lead leaders. Leaders who focus on developing other leaders create exponential growth, while those who only lead followers experience incremental progress. The ability to multiply your leadership by investing in and empowering others to lead is what separates good leaders from great ones. Maxwell explains that leaders who develop followers add value to their organizations, but leaders who develop other leaders multiply their influence. This creates a ripple effect, where the leaders you develop go on to lead others, spreading growth and success far beyond what you could achieve alone. An example of explosive growth through leadership multiplication is Jack Welch, the legendary CEO of General Electric. Welch focused heavily on developing leaders within GE, creating a culture of leadership development that turned the company into one of the most successful organizations in the world. Under Welch's leadership, GE grew exponentially because he didn't just focus on managing people. He focused on growing leaders who could drive the company's vision forward. Maxwell encourages leaders to shift their focus from simply managing teams to investing in the growth and development of future leaders. This not only ensures long-term success, but also creates a legacy of leadership that continues to impact the organization long after the leader has moved on. Chapter 21. The Law of Legacy. A leader's lasting value is measured by succession. Maxwell concludes with the law of legacy, which states that a leader's ultimate success is determined not by their achievements, but by their ability to leave a lasting legacy. True leadership is not about personal accomplishments. It's about ensuring that the impact you've made endures long after you're gone. This law challenges leaders to think beyond their immediate goals and to focus on what they will leave behind. Maxwell shares the story of the Walt Disney Company as an example of legacy leadership. Walt Disney's vision, creativity, and leadership shaped one of the world's most beloved entertainment companies. But Disney's true legacy lies in the leadership succession he put in place, ensuring that his company would continue to thrive even after his death. Today, Disney's legacy lives on, not just in his films and theme parks, but in the leaders he developed who carry his vision forward. Maxwell argues that building a legacy requires intentionality. Leaders who think about their legacy focus on developing future leaders, creating systems that outlast them, and embedding their values into the culture of their organization. A strong legacy is not about the leader. It's about the lasting impact they leave on the people and the organization they lead. To build a legacy, Maxwell encourages leaders to mentor and develop the next generation of leaders, create a clear vision for the future, and ensure that the organization's core values are deeply rooted in its culture. The true test of leadership is not what you accomplish during your lifetime, but what continues after you're gone. Conclusion: applying the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. John Maxwell's The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is a comprehensive guide to understanding and mastering the principles of effective leadership. Each law provides a powerful framework for leaders at any stage of their journey. Whether you are leading a small team or a global organization, these laws can help you maximize your influence, inspire your team, and create lasting success. Maxwell's overarching message is clear. Leadership is a process that can be learned and improved over time. By applying these laws consistently, you can grow into the leader you are meant to be, inspire those around you, and leave a lasting impact on the world. Are you ready to apply these laws and become the leader you were destined to be? The journey starts now, and the results can be life-changing. It's time to embrace your leadership potential and begin the work of transforming yourself and those around you into leaders who can change the world. Are you interested in reading the entire book? We got you a link in the description down below.